What's up, tribe? Hope everyone's doing well. So, we got a brand new series here. This is the very first episode. And what the series is going to be about is highlighting different Undersun tribe members. Now, Undersun is more than just educating people on how to achieve their fitness goals. A lot of it is also how do we actually help people reach those fitness goals by supporting and encouraging each other. And so one of the ways we do that is by sharing stories, sharing some of sometimes our own struggles, how we overcame those, maybe things that other people that are going through something similar can relate to, and maybe find some inspiration in that to help them achieve their own goals. So this week in the very first episode, I'm happy to have Undersun tribe member Micheal Boyd. Micheal, welcome.
Thank you, James. Glad to be here.
So Micheal, I believe, has been one of our original tribe members since the very beginning when we started the company. And I've literally watched him transform, not only just, physically transform, but I think the cool thing about it that really is cool to me is that he's done it almost entirely with resistance bands, trained with Undersun bands and doing the programs, and just gone through this crazy transformation. And so, I don't think people can really appreciate where you're at now unless they understood where you've come from, this journey over the past couple of years. So that's what I'd like to make this about, is just sharing that. So let's dive into it. Tell us, kind of name, age, occupation. So give us a little backstory of who you are and what your life is like.
Cool. So my name is Micheal Boyd. A lot of people know me by Bod by Boyd on my Instagram. I'm 29 years old and I'm a deputy sheriff. I've been in fitness for, I would say, 10 years. I started back in high school. I ran track and cross country, so I did a lot of calisthenics work. And then, I moved into just doing strictly calisthenics after I finished running track. And then after that, I just decided that I wanted something more. I wanted to build a muscle, but to do so conveniently and effectively. And so that's when I kind of ran into Undersun.
So I remember you and I had a conversation before, and you were like, I tried weights briefly. I bought a pair of dumbbells. I used them at home, didn't really like them. And so that's when you moved over and started doing calisthenics training. So what was that transition from going to calisthenics training to bands? Because I saw a massive transformation from the time you started with bands to now. So what was that time like up until that point, before starting using bands to doing the calisthenics? Because obviously it worked for you in the beginning, but you reached a point where you decided to try something different.
Yeah, so you're right. I did do dumbbells for like 6 months. It was like a 6-month dumbbell routine, like maybe 7 years ago. And I just didn't like it because it limited me, basically. It limited me to where I could work out, how I could work out, and it just wasn't my cup of tea. And so I did move into strictly calisthenics, which I loved it. I love bodyweight movements, push-ups, dips, pull-ups, all that good stuff. But for me, I wanted to get bigger. It was easy to get cut with calisthenics, but getting bigger was the hard part, because for me, I'm a slow gainer, what they call it, and it's just hard for me to gain muscle. It's hard for me to gain weight if I don't do it the correct way. And so that's when I started looking for different things. And so I remember I searched YouTube and I saw your videos on resistance bands. So I thought, wow, this is pretty interesting. This was before Undersun came out and you were just throwing out the videos on how to use bands. And so I looked on Amazon, bought an off-brand set of resistance bands, and I started using them, and I started seeing results. And then shortly after that, that's when I noticed Undersun. Undersun had become rooted and grounded, and then I reached out to the ambassador programs because I wanted to be more involved. And I started using Undersun bands, and like the quality of the bands and the effectiveness of the workouts, especially TA2 build, just mind blowing. I started at like 145, and now I'm up to 180. So clearly big difference.
That's crazy. Wow. I've never asked you what the numbers were. I mean, I just saw you going from being really thin to putting on a ton of muscle, but that's impressive, dude. Over 2 years. I mean, people always want to ask me how bands stack up against free weights and whether they think that I could build my physique using only bands. I'm like, well, considering all those years before bands, I was in the gym, I can't say, what it would be like one versus the other, I'm like, but I feel pretty confident that I could do it. But it's always this big debate. They're like, well, James, you built your physique in the gym. I'm like, yeah, but I've also been training exclusively with bands for 3 years now. You know, if you don't use it, you lose it. But with you, it's totally different. I've watched you build your physique with bands and get the same kind of results. Matter of fact, I mean, look, you're hard pressed to find someone who's gained almost 40 pounds of muscle in 2 years using weights. So, and you did it with bands.
Yeah. Which is, like I said, it's impressive. And that's what got me really sold when I started gaining that weight and gaining that muscle mass. Like I said, it's hard for me to, if I don't have the right formula, it's hard for me to gain the muscle mass and the weight. And I look back at pictures of me from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and like, it's mind boggling to me of how skinny I used to be and like how I look now. And so the bands have really played a vital role of being able to get me to where I want to be and continue to propel me to where I want to be.
So a lot of people, you know, look, a lot of people obviously like going to the gym and they integrate that into their schedule. I used to, and when I had more free time, you know, that wasn't a big deal for me to take the time of going to the gym and working out for whatever hour plus and then driving home, you know, soaking up like almost 2 hours out of my day. As I got busier and busier, that became harder. And that for me, it wasn't just the effectiveness of the bands. It really was the freedom that I had with the bands, being able to squeeze it in wherever I wanted, whenever I wanted. And that's what I really appreciated about it. So what was it that drew you? Clearly, you know, you're not a gym guy, never gone to the gym. You worked out with some dumbbells at home for a bit. You did calisthenics at home, and now you've done resistance bands at home. So give us kind of like a bit of background of why, like, you know, with your schedule, why is it that you never did go to a gym?
I didn't go to the gym because for me, it was pretty inconvenient. The way my schedule works is I work 12.5-hour shifts. So it's literally half the day. After working that long, you get off of work, you really don't feel like going to the gym, or, you know, you don't feel like taking the necessary steps to get there. You know, I have a family, have 2 young kids, you know, a significant other. So it's very hard to find that time to go to the gym. And so with the bands, it makes it a lot more convenient, and it really eliminates the excuse. Because, you know, when you have the gym, there's the time you have to take the drive to the gym, and then you have to work out, and then you have to drive back home, and then all that stuff. With bands, I can literally, what I do is I just wake up a little bit earlier sometimes. I just work out before work, and I get it in like that. And what's also convenient is the time, because the workouts that I do usually 30 to 45 minutes tops, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it really just boils down to the effectiveness and the convenience of it.
Nice. So now you've gained 40 pounds. Tell me about, like, you know, how that feels, you know, the strength, or, you know, maybe even you and I've talked about it before. I think bands offer more than just the ability to build muscle. You have this opportunity to condition your overall body, you know, core strength, stability, which translates into functional strength, which translates into sports, etc. So overall, how do you feel now?
To be honest, I feel amazing. It's, like I said, it's hard to like look back, because back then I felt scrawny and I felt weak and not as confident, but now I feel really strong. I feel like I can accomplish a lot. My core has really gotten really strong because a lot of the movements in TA2 build and just using bands period it requires you to use your core, and it requires you to stabilize yourself with your legs. And so you're actively engaging more muscles than, you know, you normally would if you're going to the gym, for instance. And so back then when I was just doing calisthenics work, I felt strong with certain movements like push-ups, obviously dips and pull-ups, but overall strength, it doesn't compare to how I feel now, because you have variable resistance. You're able to overload the muscles a lot better with bands. You're able to get that pump a lot more. And so I just feel overall a lot stronger. And then I feel more confident too. Like I said, going from 145 to now 180 just gives you that confidence boost and gives you that type of, you know, just feel good.
So what advice would you give to someone who's about to or contemplating using bands? You know, maybe they've been struggling, trying to reach their fitness goals. I mean, look, let's face it, there's so many different reasons. And, you know, I say reasons, not excuses. I'm a believer that there's plenty of reasons, no excuses. But there's so many reasons why it's difficult to squeeze fitness in. and actually reach your fitness goals, right? We all, I mean, look, January rolls around, everyone starts fitness goals, New Year's resolution. By February, March, everyone's fallen off. So for someone who's contemplating, following in your footsteps, doing the same things, do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, I would say, to be honest, consistency is key when it comes to working out. You have to be consistent. And like I said, with bands, it makes it easier to be consistent because, like you said, there's really no reasons. There's no excuses. There's only reasons. But, with the bands, you have the convenience of working out at home or going wherever you want. And so for me, it was just consistency. One thing I like to tell people is I made a post in the Undersun Fitness group, and it basically said something along the lines of, if you take all the workouts that you've done up until this point, you take away one workout, you probably wouldn't notice a difference in your physique, right? You take away 2 or 3, you probably still wouldn't notice a difference. But you take away 10, 12, 15, then you'll probably start seeing a difference. And so the takeaway from that is every single workout that you do, it builds up to your overall, what you look like now and where you want to go. So don't skip workouts, be consistent, give it your all. There's no point of working out and giving it 50%. You might as well give it 110%. You're only working out for 45 minutes to an hour, so you might as well just leave it all out there on the floor, and you will see results for sure.
Yep. Cool, man. Cool. Well, actually, you kind of took away from my last question, which is, what is fitness freedom to you? We talk about that a lot, fitness freedom, because to me, I felt like I was so shackled to the gym, like I was chained to it, and that was cool for a long time, but it just limited the things that I wanted to do as far as traveling, doing different things. If I wanted to achieve my fitness goals, it was like, I was stuck going to the gym. Or if I did travel, where can I find a gym? That was always the first question I asked when I would travel someplace. Say, okay, where's the gym? Now I don't worry about that anymore. I feel like I have total freedom now. But what does fitness freedom mean to you?
It just means having the ability to work out whenever you want, however you want, and not having any restrictions or limitations. Just like you were saying with traveling. Like I went to Florida a couple of years ago, or I think it was last year, and I had just got my Undersun bands not too long ago, and I was excited because I don't like missing workouts. And because I had my bands, I was able to pack the bands onto my carry-on bag, onto the plane, fly to Florida, and I didn't miss a workout. So that's really what it is for me, is not having those restrictions or limitations and just being able to get that good quality workout wherever you go.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, I want to wrap up real quick. So anyone watching this, if you're not already part of the Undersun Fitness Tribe, Michael's talked about it a couple of times. So that's a private group that we have. So if you're an Undersun customer, you can join that group. Everyone in there is just all about supporting, encouraging each other, sharing progress pics. And that's what it's all about, because, when you're out there pursuing things, it's not just about the how-to, right? The knowledge of how to work out is only part of it. The other part of it is being motivated and being consistent and going after it. And sometimes you need a support network. You need some people to, pat you on the back and say, hey, you're doing a great job, or to be able to give you feedback or answer questions. And that's what the tribe's all about. So if you haven't checked it out yet, make sure you check out the Undersun Fitness Tribe. On Instagram, it's under I think TA2 official group. So Undersun programs are called TA2, which stands for Train Anytime, Train Anywhere. So Micheal, I appreciate your time. Super happy to have you in the tribe, man. And congratulations on all the progress. You've been crushing it. And I just think that's a huge inspiration to a lot of people.
Thank you, James. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you and Undersun Fitness. It's really changed my life. And I'm just so happy to be a part of the family.
Awesome, dude. Awesome, man. So make sure you join the tribe. You'll see Micheal in there leading the way as always. So Micheal, I'll be talking to you soon, man.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
All right. See you.